The government has been accused of ignoring community leaders over growing calls to reinstate the mandatory cashless debit card. A trial of the program saw recipients of JobSeeker and other welfare payments have a large portion of their payments quarantined onto the card, preventing the money from being spent on products like alcohol. That scheme was in place across 5 regions, but was wound up in October, from which point recipients were allowed to opt in. Those who were on the cashless debit card and chose not to continue are instead being moved to enhanced income management measures. That's despite anger from some regional communities who blame the removal of the card for a return of alcohol-related violence. Let's bring in the Shadow Health Minister, Anne Ruston, who joins me live from Adelaide and did have responsibility for this area when in government recently. Anne Ruston, thanks for your time. Let's start with this enhanced income management. Will that be enough to replace the cashless debit card and help provide some equilibrium in these communities?
Well, the big issue here is that the new advanced card that they're calling is exactly the cashless debit card. There is no change at all. So this idea that the government has abolished the cashless debit card is nothing more than a complete distortion of the truth. But the challenges that we have is that the government also made the cashless debit card and this new advanced management card voluntary in those 5 sites that you mentioned in your introduction. The only place that income management remains compulsory is in the Northern Territory. And so those communities, those 5 communities that particularly 4 of them are calling out at the moment, or sort of 3 of them are definitely calling out at the moment for the reintroduction of income management, we have no access unless somebody voluntarily wants to go on the card. And this is where we're seeing these terrible scenes coming out of Laverton and Kalgoorlie and Ceduna and up in the northern part of Western Australia, where getting this really bad antisocial behaviour that is devastating communities again.
Can we just pick up on something you said earlier, though? So the enhanced income management, as it's called by the government, that's exactly the same card as the cashless debit card. There's just a renaming of the program. Is that right?
Absolutely. And when I questioned the government about this in estimates a couple of weeks ago, they actually admitted that people who currently have a cashless debit card in the Northern Territory won't even have their bank account number changed. It's exactly the same bank account that is going. The number still, the banking, the deposit taking institution is still in due, exactly the same as it was with the cashless debit card. And in the case of those people that get their card through the traditional credit union in the Northern Territory, they won't even have their card changed. So it is just completely and utterly misleading to say the cashless debit card has been abolished, but it has been ripped out of communities outside of the Northern Territory, made voluntary where most people have come off the card. And this is where we're seeing this heightened level of antisocial behaviour and alcohol-fuelled violence.